Hey, what's going on, guys? We are finally back. We're somewhat settled here at our new home in Utah, but most importantly, we are finally ready to start working on our 1965 Pontiac GTO. This car has got me really excited. It's got a lot of you guys also excited. And those of you guys that are new to the channel, or maybe even just new to this build, we're gonna turn this car, T-Bone and I, oh yeah, he's ready to go. We're gonna turn this car, which was destined for the scrap heap, we're gonna turn it into a 10-second car, street car, over the next 12 months. So most of you guys probably look at this thing, you think I'm a little bit crazy, you see all the metal work that's gotta be done on it, but I got a huge boost with like probably the biggest part score I could have ever dreamed of. Somebody had reached out to me through YouTube and basically got an entire collection of 1965 Pontiac GTO parts, including 3 motors that we're gonna go through on this channel during this build, pick out the best one, and we're gonna stroke the shit out of it, make it faster than hell, and make this thing go down the track in 10 seconds roughly. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour. I did in the last video as well, but I wanna kind of show you guys what we're gonna do today. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna lift the front and the back of this car up. We're gonna take all the body bolts out of the bolts that are connecting the frame to the body and get this body up off of the frame, roll the frame out, and we're gonna put this onto our body cart, because here over the next few months for sure, it's gonna be undergoing some pretty significant surgery with all of the metal work. We got to do full quarters, package tray, rear deck filler, basically every single channel that's on this entire car. The roof, thank goodness, is somewhat solid. We're going to get some new doors. We are going to also excuse me. We're going to insert a brand new floor pan into this, a trunk pan as well. Thankfully, the firewall is in pretty decent shape. We're going to take a wire wheel to this, clean it all up, get it looking brand new again. I mentioned we're gonna wheel this this frame out, so we're gonna get a really good look at that. We're probably gonna box a good portion of the frame that's not, or come up with different ways that we can really support this frame and definitely kind of build up and make it more, or provide some more strength into the frame. So now you guys see what we're working with. You still excited, T-Bone? We're all pretty excited about this build, so without further ado, let's get to work. All right, so we're about 2 minutes into the teardown of this build, and I noticed something right away that's probably one of my biggest, absolute biggest pet peeves. I'm sure it drives a lot of you guys crazy out there too, and especially when you're tearing down cars like this, or you're working on cars like this, or if you've built cars and you pull out the bolts and you find in the same exact door 3 different lengths, different styles, different material type bolts. I'm a big believer, you guys. Spend the money once, do it right. Cry once when you build it, or cry every single day when you drive it, okay? This right here actually appears to be correct. Just by looking at it, I mean, it appears to be the right bolt. We're gonna change them out anyways here, but I'm pretty sure that these 2 are pulled straight out of the Ace hardware bin or the junk bolts bin that somebody had laying in their garage. So if you learn nothing else from this channel, just please put the right hardware in. I'm begging you guys, please. So when you have the car empty like this, now is the absolute perfect time to also check your rear springs. I think she came off the ground that time, so we're in perfect shape. Alrighty, you guys, so we got all of our body bolts out, and surprisingly, well, I guess not surprisingly, you know, this car comes from, I'd say California, Arizona, something like that. I was told California, but you can see that's not rust. That is all sand that was up inside of where these body mounts, right up in here where those nuts are sitting in there. So I had to take an air nozzle on this one right here because it was a little bit stuck, but I successfully got out all of the body mount bolts. So that's fantastic. Stark difference from the 68 Charger and also our 68 Camaro, where literally all the hardware was rusted in, everything broke off. Surprisingly, I didn't break off a single bolt pulling any of those out. So, but I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get the engine hoist set up, and basically what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna first, lift the front half, put some jack stands on each side of it. I'll probably support it across the middle with some wood, and then come to the back side, jack it up with the engine hoist, get it completely up and over the wheels, and then roll the frame out, roll the body cart in, and set the body directly on the body cart. So sounds easy. Hopefully it all goes to plan. So let's finish this up. Alrighty, you guys, we got our frame wheeled outside. We got the body sitting here on our Eastwood body cart. Absolutely love this thing. It folds up, pretty compact when you're not using it, but then when you are using it, you can use it on big cars, little cars. You know, it's got about a 2,000 pound weight capacity, I believe. So anything that we're gonna do to this body, the car has plenty of capacity for that. So as you guys can see, it's on all four corners here, and what makes this is extremely nice, especially when we're going to go do the floor. I don't have to worry about cutting the frame or anything like that. I don't have to work around it. It's all completely out of the way. I've got wide open access all the way around this thing, including the trunk. I don't have to mess around with access around that rear axle. So, you know, the first thing I want to do, number one, is compliment the West Coast for at least helping me save these cars, or producing you know, a climate just better for saving these cars. You know, this is almost 60 years old, and to see rockers that look like this, you know, to see the floor pan that looks like that, I mean, this is definitely original. It's unbelievable how solid this thing is underneath. You know, and I can pull out every single body bolt without them breaking off. You look at those bolts, you could probably reuse these. I won't, but it probably could. And I'm more than certain that those are the original mounts that were on this car. I mean, I don't think the car's ever been restored or anything like that. So, but just overall, it's in fantastic shape and is really going to be an awesome base to start with for this build. So let's start here in the firewall. Again, learn from my mistakes so you don't make your own. Definitely don't lift by these holes in the firewall here. I'll have to hammer dolly these out and weld this back into place. I kind of tore these two areas here on the firewall. I mean, not a big deal at all. We can fix that. But you can see the rest of this. I mean, it's pretty much torn down to the extent that we're going to do it. I'm going to have to drill out some of these screws here on my A-pillar covers. You can see, you know, the heads are just totally gone, and we're going to work to get these covers off here. But I would say the A-pillars on this car are probably my biggest concern. Number one, I don't believe that anybody makes A-pillars for a 65. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think we may actually have to work with a 66, 67 A-pillar and modify it to fit. So that'll be one of the first things I look at for sure when we start in on this car. Now that the doors are out of the way, I mean, the jambs look pretty good. You know, down here, we do have some issues here at the bottom. This is very typical with these cars. The front of the rocker here is gonna have to be worked on as well. But no real surprises on the floor. Again, we have a one-piece floor pan that's gonna take this entire thing out all at one time, and it's gonna make this job really easy. Onto the back here, you know, nothing too new. Back here, you can kind of see now, you know, this appears to me to be a completely original sheet metal 65 GTO. I don't believe it's been recorded before, but this kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at inside of here. So the tail panel is a little bit worse than what I was thinking it was originally, so we'll replace this as well. So tail panel, rear quarters, inner and outer wheelhouses, full trunk pan. Yeah, we're gonna back half this car just like we did with our 68 Charger, or we're doing with our 68 Charger, excuse me. These offer a really good viewpoint. I hope that you guys can see. Again, this car is almost 60 years old, and to be that solid inside of the rockers, it's really crazy to me. I'm just not used to working with a base that's actually starting off this good. Here on the other door jamb, you can see, I mean, no real surprises all the way around here. Now our cowl sections here are definitely bad along the sides, so these are pretty eaten up here. We'll have to work on the bottom corners of this. What happens a lot of times, I mean, once it rains, all that rain gets in here through your cowl, goes down onto the inside here, and a lot of this moisture just gets trapped down here at the bottom, and that's why you can see that daylight right there with all that water that accumulates inside of there. But overall, looks in pretty good shape. A lot of you guys out there may think, you know, that I'm absolutely crazy for building this. This car is actually a lot less work than what our 68 Charger is. Now, looking at the frame, first off, I was so wrong when I said earlier that there was only 8 body mounts. So count them with me. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 if you include the radiator core support. Our car did not have a core support, so I won't count those. But yeah, way more than 8. I don't know where I heard that or saw that. Must have been looking at a completely wrong car. But you can see here, our body mount bushings, all these are still in place. And again, it blows my mind these aren't completely blown out. And it really blows my mind to see the frame in this good of condition. You know, instead of rust, I've got dust here that I'm working with on the car, but I don't see any place on this entire frame. And you can see here, it's almost got red dirt kind of just caked up in here, red sand. You can see that right there. I mean, it's all sand. It's not rust. It's not all rotted out. Up here onto the front, I mean, this frame is in unbelievably good shape. And I mentioned earlier that I may, you know, look at boxing the frame. I'll have to do a little bit of research on this. I mean, most of it's already boxed. The only other place here would be on the rocker side. It'd be pretty easy to do. Don't know really if I'll get any gain or benefit out of doing it, but no, give me your feedback in the comment section below and let me know what you guys would do. But it looks really, really good. So this about wraps up our initial teardown on this car. I'm gonna work to get this rear frame stripped down. We're gonna get this off, get it blasted, get it powder coated, get it ready to go back underneath the car. Meanwhile, I'm gonna work here on all of the sheet metal that we've got to do here on this car. Like I said, we're getting a full floor pan, full trunk pan, you know, all of the sheet metal more or less, or at least about 98% of what we need with our giant parts score that we got. So that'll be in later on this week. When I get that, I'll lay it all out, inventory it, I'll show you guys exactly what I got, and it's really gonna help accelerate this build quite significantly here over the next couple weeks and couple months. But I think that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Really appreciate you guys following. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, definitely click it and watch our progress on this build. So take care, guys. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you next time.